Hey, folks, welcome to Shooting Up North. I'm your host, Lewis Carlin. We're here right here on the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. Thank you so much for joining me again today. If you're watching for the first time, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you want to follow me on social media, you can follow me on social media on Twitter at Shooting Up North, Instagram at Alliance PW Network, or you could join our Facebook group, the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. Thank you so much. So, as we all know, Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes no longer with AEW. They couldn't come to terms. So, as per Fightful, we know already, but I'm just going to read what Fightful has here. Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes have left AEW after they could not come to terms on a new contract. Fightful was told by AEW sources last Friday that Cody sought a big money deal, and several didn't think that a resigning was going to happen. By that night, numerous people inside and outside the company had knowledge of the situation and were led of the belief that Cody was leaving the company. However, inquiries started to come to Cody directly over the weekend, which he claimed were spun. Shortly after the announcement, WWE officials were aware of the situation and also knew that an announcement would be dropped. We've heard that two sides have at least had discussions, but WWE was well aware that an announcement regarding Rhodes' departure would be made at 10 a.m. EST. 15 minutes before Cody's announcement, word had spread to AEW talent that he was leaving the company. So Cody Rhodes, Brandy Rhodes, no longer with AEW. So the question is, where does Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes end up? The logical choice, of course, is WWE. Says that there's been discussions between Cody Rhodes and WWE. Cody Rhodes looking for a big money deal. Vince McMahon has the money. So the logical destination is WWE. I got people on social media already saying the main event at WrestleMania is going to be Cody Rhodes against Roman Reigns. People saying Cody Rhodes is going to show up on the next on SmackDown. I think SmackDown was taped though, if I was reading, but anyway, but Cody Rhodes is able to appear immediately. There's no I don't think there's any he has to wait 90 days. Or I think he could. I'm pretty sure he could appear immediately. There was an update that mentioned something, but it doesn't matter whether he has to or not. But actually, let me see. Does he have to wait? Doesn't look like he might not have a non-compete. There might not be any non-compete, so he might be able to appear immediately for WWE. So that's the logical destination. But is that where he's headed? Right? Is that where Cody Rhodes is headed? I don't know. I don't know. Cody Rhodes with the WWE left in 2016, and I wasn't happy with the direction the WWE was going in. And quite honestly, nothing's changed. Right? Nothing's changed. If anything, the WWE has taken a turn for the worse. They've taken a turn for the worse. So nothing's. I mean, I think it's. I mean, with all the releases and everything, is that what Cody Rhodes really wants to go? Again, Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes, they make the decision. They make what's best for them. I'm sure they could get a big money deal from the WWE. So where does he end up? Does he end up in the WWE? I don't think we're going to see him in the WWE. That's just my feeling. That's just my feeling. So I think there's two options. I think two options for, in my opinion, of what we're going to see Cody Rhodes do. One, we're going to see Cody Rhodes return to AEW. He wants to get a big money deal. I know Tony Khan put out a whole statement indicating that he announced that Cody Rhodes was leaving and Brandy Rhodes as well, and he thanked them for their contributions to AEW. He had a long, I don't have it in front of me. He had a long paragraph that he wrote out for thanking Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes for the contributions to AEW, and I think we might see him back. We're probably gonna. I want to say good chance we're going to see him back in AEW. I think the WWE is going to offer him a lot of money, and I think Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes, they're both businessmen. They're both playing hardball right now. If you ask me, they're both playing hardball. So I think they're going to come to an agreement, and we're going to see Cody Rhodes return to AEW. I think they're going to be hush hush about it, right? And Cody Rhodes will be like a surprise in a few weeks down the road. But that's what I think. Or what Cody Rhodes could do Again, I don't. He could very well go to the WWE, but my gut feeling is telling me that I don't think he's going to be there. Another thing he could do is, and hear me out here. Hear me out here. When he left the WWE initially, he went on a whole indie scene. He worked the indie scene in New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling. He worked Ring of Honor. He worked for about 3 years before All Elite Wrestling began. Um, and I think he might could do that again. I think I think we could see him doing that again. I can see him doing that. I can see him, signing a 4 or 5 month contract with Impact Wrestling, then going to back to New Japan Pro Wrestling, then working the indie scene for a while, then coming back to Impact Wrestling and trying to figure out what he wants to do, and then maybe he'll return to All Elite Wrestling, AEW, or he'll sign full on with New Japan Pro Wrestling or something. I can see him doing that. I could definitely see him coming back, not on a full time, not on a 3 or 4 year deal with Impact Wrestling, but I could see him coming back to Impact Wrestling for the short term. And like I said, floating around from promotion to indie promotion to indie promotion to indie promotion. I can see him doing it. He did that before before AEW came to fruition, and I think we can see him doing that again. That's again that's the feeling I have. I mean, I could definitely see him doing it, and we'd love to see him back in Impact Wrestling. I mean, there's a lot of fresh challenges for him in Impact Wrestling. You have him against Moose, him against Eddie Edwards. If Josh Alexander resigns, please, we can see Joshua Alexander versus Cody Rhodes would be a fantastic, fantastic match. But I could see it. I could see it happen. I could see him spending some. I could see him and Brandy spending some time in Impact Wrestling. And back to the WWE. Does the WWE want Brandy Rhodes? I would kind of think that they're a package deal. That if you want Cody Rhodes, you're also going to have to sign Brandy Rhodes. Does the WWE? I haven't read anything, but are the WWE interested in Brandy Rhodes as well, or do they just want Cody? I kind of think it would be a package deal. And I'm sure something will be worked out where Cody Rhodes will say, well, if you're going to sign me, you got to sign Brandy, right? So, but again, my gut feeling, and again, I could be way off. My gut feeling is he's not going to the WWE. We got people, like at AEW diehards, fanboys, if that's what you want to call them. Yeah, let's call them that. AEW fanboys so upset. They're so upset that Cody Rhodes is no longer with AEW for the time being, at the current time, I should say. And people say he better not go back to the WWE. It's almost like they can't believe they can't believe somebody is walking away from AEW and might go to the WWE. It's like the world is ending for these people. They need to calm down a little bit. Really need to calm down a little bit. But that's. I think those are the two scenarios I see happening for Cody Rhodes. Either again, Cody Rhodes, Tony Khan, businessmen. They're both playing hardball with each other, and eventually they're gonna meet in the middle, and they'll come to an agreement. And Cody Rhodes will return to AEW because he's one of the original. He helped form AEW. And he was one of the executive vice presidents. I don't know what's happening there, because I know he came in as one of the executive vice presidents. I don't know if he still holds that title or if him leaving, he walks away from that job as well. Well, I guess if he signs with the WWE, he's going to have to relinquish that title. But I see that scenario where he goes back to AEW, or he decides, he just wants to do a whole indie scene thing, an indie. Excuse me, sorry. He just wants to do a whole indie scene thing, where he also ends up in more major promotions like Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong, maybe travel to Japan as the COVID restrictions are ending and work in New Japan Pro Wrestling again. I can see him maybe even going to Pro Wrestling Noah. I can see him just doing something like that, right? And just going to promotions, promotion to promotion to promotion. He'll make good money, of course, but I can see him doing that as well. But then again, like I said, I could be wrong, and we may. There could be a report tomorrow that Cody Rhodes signs with the WWE and he's expected to make his debut on Raw next Monday, right? So we could see that as well. So, but my gut feeling, Lewis Carlin's gut feeling I don't think he's going to go back to WWE. But that's just how I feel. And I'm not always right. I could be wrong, but it's just how I feel. That's all. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that for now. Anything else breaks, of course, I'll be back. But until then, thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye. Stay safe, everyone. So long. Bye bye.